Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here once again, and today I have my honest thoughts on Marvel's Avengers, the brand new game. It's in early access for those who pre-ordered the deluxe edition. Also going to be available for everybody September 4th, which is in just a couple days. A lot of rumors, a lot of misconceptions about the game have been out there, a lot of things that people have said that I think just flat out aren't true. I wanted to touch on it, but first, thank you so much for tuning in, stopping by, and showing love. I appreciate each and every one of you. YouTube has been absolutely amazing to me lately. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. If you want to see more videos from me, you want to stay in tune with what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm going to jump into it and say I spent about 15 hours on the campaign. I really dug it. I thought it was surprisingly good, especially for a looter shooter. And I say that because I don't feel like this game really is one. But I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. Yeah, the campaign was good. Follows mainly Miss Marvel, who you haven't seen a lot of in movies or television at all. She's going to be coming to the MCU at some point, but for now, it's a fresh take on a character, which I think building around her was super important. She's the main one you see at the start of the campaign. So I thought that was really cool. The interactions between her and the Hulk, also awesome. Villains, good. You fight some traditional villains from the comics, which is great. Some you've seen on TV, some you haven't. Some you've seen in the movies, some you haven't. So I really enjoyed that. Overall, the campaign, 14 to 15 hours I spent on it without doing a lot of the side missions. For me, very well done. I'm very excited about that. And I would say anybody who's a Marvel, Avengers, or superhero fan should probably check out that campaign because it's worth it in my opinion. Especially if you're going to be playing some of the later content that's coming out as well. Now, it says single player on the campaign. One of the things to keep in mind is that you can play a lot of the missions co-op, whether it's with a friend, whether it's with matchmaking. So even though some of them are solo story missions, there's a lot during the campaign that you can actually play co-op as well. So keep that in mind as you're playing with friends, because in my personal opinion, Marvel's Avengers shines when you're beating people up as a Avengers team. Group of 3 or 4 friends just kind of teaming up, using your different takedowns, which are the finishing moves in the game. And you can do team finishers. You can do solo finishers. You have finishers on different types of enemies from small, medium, and large. So lots of options there, and I like that a lot. One of the things that really strikes me about this game is the fact that all the characters feel like I would expect them to feel by playing those superheroes. Iron Man flying around shooting rockets or lasers. Miss Marvel with her hands growing huge, with her beginning, I think is the word they use in the game for her ultimate ability. And yeah, Black Widow, all of them feel really good and like I would expect them to feel. The only one that's maybe a little bit not as strong as others is Thor. Sorry, my fault. Thor is really good. Hulk doesn't feel as tanky as I might have expected him to be. Thor is actually at the top of my list. He's my favorite character in the game right now. I've been playing him a ton, as you can see right now. You get different skins unlocked as well. This is one I'm rocking with because I probably won't see a lot of people on it. But yeah, there's a lot to do. Now, again, even after playing the main campaign, I still have a ton of missions to do. 23 available here. One of the things that you'll see is that I haven't done any of the iconic missions. Each of the characters, the 6 characters, has their own iconic mission that you can do and take on. And it's got its own side story, which kind of flushes out the characters as well. So even past the main campaign, there's more story to find in the game as well. On top of monthly, weekly, and daily missions, there's also events that you can take part of. So there's a lot to do once you finish that campaign that I think folks would be kind of surprised at. I don't think it's going to have the depth that something like Destiny has. I don't think the raids are going to be as challenging. I don't think there's going to be all of the same min-maxing as far as what gear you're trying to find throughout. However, you will find, as you find exotic and legendary gear and as you upgrade it, they do have powers that you can add to them. For example, this Sacred Norn Stone of Lethal Will actually can activate a damage boost by pressing a couple buttons by using this artifact. That's where the end game is going to shine. You're going to be enhancing your skill trees. Your skill trees are actually a little bit more fleshed out than you might have seen in the beta. A lot better if you're unaware. You can play as a support hero where you heal or buff your teammates. You can play as an assault hero. You can focus on your ultimate ability, your movement. So there's a lot of ways to kind of spec your character into feeling like Thor, but your Thor, if that makes sense. There's also mastery, which you're going to see intrinsic abilities, range. This is going to be focused on the end game once your character's a bit higher level, and you can unlock all those other abilities. So that's where the gear min-maxing is going to come into play, because if you see like a purple gear has multiple gear perks that you can unlock. Once you unlock those, they affect specific abilities or types of ways to approach combat. So like I said, while I don't think the depth, you're not going to have anything like raids like you might in Destiny, as deep or engaging as that might be. This game is more of like an action superhero game that just so happens to be a looter shooter, has ongoing events. We're going to see raid type activities end game in the future. We're going to see new heroes coming out, and that's what has me most excited. Every new hero is going to have their own story trail, and it looks like there's one coming out in October with the first Hawkeye, second Hawkeye in November. So there's a lot to look forward to as far as the end game. But not even talking about that, the base game itself, you're probably going to have to sink 20, 25, 30 hours into, which is as long as some complete single player games, in order to do everything that you want to do. And that's probably what it's going to take to get to max gear score on one character. Now, some other misconceptions that I've seen is with cosmetics. I know there was some backlash with the Verizon skins. Understandably so. It was bad marketing in my opinion. However, a lot of the skins will tell you how you unlock them by reaching level 50, purchasing in the in-game store at the vendor, which uses credits, and then you can also the fabrication machine where you find them in the game, so on and so forth. The other thing is the challenge card. Someone had mentioned to me that there was going to be 100 levels in the challenge card. That is not the case. Each character that you start with has 40 levels in their challenge card, basically a battle pass, that you can unlock. All of the 6 starting characters are completely free. You'll do your daily and weekly challenges in order to progress on these challenge cards, and each challenge card you complete will allow you to purchase another challenge card. So say I complete Thor's, now when the next Hawkeye comes out, I can actually purchase her challenge card without costing me a dime, which I think is really cool, and something that a lot of people I think were ill-informed of when they saw that the challenge cards are going to be $10 each. It's the characters themselves are free. The challenge cards are only going to be purchasable if you don't feel like grinding out other ones and earning the in-game credits yourself. Now, there's credits and there's units. The credits are purchasable through money and earnable through the challenge cards. The units are actually earnable in the game. You'll come across them from time to time. You can purchase cosmetics in the game. You can purchase gear upgrades in game. So there's a lot of things you can do with those units, and that's how they kind of differ and how you can tell the difference between the two. Other than that, I'm going to go into some positives and negatives. Positives. Again, the game feels fun to play, especially with friends. The team-ups, the abilities, the ultimate abilities are awesome. You can actually tune them. One of the things I've done with Thor is if you look at his Bifrost, I actually have a cold effect, a cryo effect on his Bifrost. You can actually tune that however you want with different abilities, whether it's a burn effect or whether it's a healing for your allies. There's a lot of ways to customize that, and you pick one or the other. Same thing here. If you look at your abilities, you're going to pick one of the 3, and really lean into that as you're customizing your character.
What's your ETA?
Alright, now I wanted to talk about some of the downsides. I didn't want to seem like I'm only talking about all the positives of the game. Even though I very much enjoy this game, there are some downsides, especially playing right now on PS4, that I wanted to touch on. And those are a couple things. One that I found is the matchmaking still tends to take quite a bit of time if you're searching for people to play with. Obviously, it's an early access, so there's not as many folks playing, but that's a minor thing. The other thing, the loading screens on the PS4 are fairly long, and unfortunately, it's going to take a while to optimize that. If you're playing on PS5, you might not have that problem. I know PC doesn't have that problem. Xbox does, unless you're on the Series S. So you're going to have long loading times, and that's one of the more frustrating things. The environments and the enemy types, the variety just isn't there right now with a lot of that. They reuse a lot of the same assets, it does look like. As far as the enemies are, during the campaign at least, are not super varied. Now, they do add to that layers as you get to the end game and as you proceed into the end game, so there is more options. But during the base campaign, you do fight a lot of the same enemies, and you'll see some of the similar maps or the same maps at times. Is that a huge deal at the end of the day? For me, it wasn't a crazy deal, especially as, like I said, pushing in the end game and seeing that there's going to be more variety. I thought that was really cool. But it is something to keep in mind, especially if you're looking for each enemy to feel different and unique. The cool thing is you will fight, like I said, some of those bosses that are traditional Marvel bosses, but besides that, the common enemies tend to feel fairly similar at times. We saw, I'm not going to spoil the end of the campaign, but that kind of opened up the options to have new enemies with new abilities. So
I'm attempting to locate the shield agents and will update your HUD
we'll
shortly.
see. Other than that,
will most certainly try to hamper your progress. Be careful.
I really enjoy the game. I'm not going to show off a lot of more footage. I'm going to have a ton on the channel going forward. If you enjoy the Avengers and you want to see more, like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Play the campaign if you have the game. It's a lot of fun. Enjoy it. Don't let people turn you away from the game. If you think it's something that you're going to want, do all the side quests. There's so much side activities on each of the different missions. Go ahead and knock those out. But other than that, my name is JoPaWrites. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all later.